From the Japanese publication Famitsu, we got some brand new gameplay for the upcoming Dragon Quest III HD-2D remake, and they showed about half an hour of the game showing multiple locations from towns, villages, dungeons, and for today I want to take a look at what we've seen so far for Dragon Quest III HD-2D remake. And of course, before we dive right in, make sure you hit that like button, share this video around, subscribe, and click on that notification bell. And now the first thing we see is the hero alongside the party members exploring Aliahan Castle, and actually exploring a little bit of the hero's house. To which for the most part, the layout is pretty similar other than the downstairs area. And when you talk to the hero's mom, she does let you rest for free. And also Aliahan Castle, I noticed, was pretty similar in layout as well. Areas that still require the thief key still require the thief key, and areas that require the magic key still require the magic key. I didn't notice anything too crazy in regards to layout. It mostly seemed right at home with the previous versions as well. The only area that I noticed some massive changes was Aliahan Town. The item shop moved places, the weapon shop also changed its location to which you actually need to enter into the building itself. And on top of that, I noticed that the party members that you have is the warrior, priest, and mage class, which of course makes sense right there. That's the presets they give you. And the Patty Inn was completely redesigned. I'm assuming now there's only one floor and you can just go to the one person that sets up your party, and you can just go straight to Patty to go on and claim whoever you need. So it's pretty smart redesign overall. I didn't really get why you had to have two floors, one of them where you get your party members and the other floor where you have to create your own party members. Oh well, it is what it is. Also on top of that, towns and castles now have their own maps. You actually now have a map for the town itself and a map for the castle itself. And especially villages on top of that. Because previously the world map was the only thing that gave you a map, while everything else had no map to begin with. I'm assuming for those who never played Dragon Quest III before and don't want to play the NES version or the Super Famicom version, they don't want to guess when exploring a dungeon and have that trial and error, which I totally understand, but maybe there's an option to turn it off when you're in Draconian mode. And after that, they moved to the first village in the game, and the one thing that I was worried about ended up being true. If you guys remembered, Roger's Base had hands-on with Dragon Quest III HD-2D remake, and he claimed that there was a reorchestrated OST. And there was a little bit of confusion there. Nightflight Studios, who talked about all these changes here, brought up that maybe Roger Space wasn't aware that there was the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony OST. And when they enter to the village, it's the night version, and the night version is the MIDI OST. To which, if you guys don't know, the night versions of towns, castles, what have you, those are MIDIs because Sugiyama never really went on his way to compose orchestrated versions of those night themes. And Dragon Quest III HD-2D, based on this demo they showed off from Famitsu, the night themes are MIDIs, which very unfortunate. That basically confirms that there are no reorchestrated OSTs. Roger Base probably never heard the Tokyo Metropolitan Symphony OSTs for these songs. I knew it was just too good to be true. But aside from that, the first village you go to has been drastically redesigned. Buildings are in different placements, the inn is in a completely different area. Everything just seems completely redesigned for this village. It's unrecognizable from the NES version, Super Famicom, Game Boy, any of the versions. Though another thing I did notice was I didn't hear any voice acting for this game unless it's disabled for this demo. I don't know what's going on here, seeing how we already know there's going to be voice acting in both English and Japanese. So unless they disabled it for this demo, there's definitely going to be very rare occasions where the game's being fully voiced. And I'll be curious what cutscenes do they determine will be fully voiced. And then they show a little bit of the overworld, which for the most part it looks pretty similar to the NES version, Super Nintendo version, but because it's now more of a pseudo third-person view, it definitely does feel different in that regard. And most placements are pretty similar. The area where you need the ultimate key to go into is still there. It still leads you down to the cave. And the area that I mentioned before now looks more like a sewage pathway rather than a cave, which is pretty cool. And the tower for the most part seems to be pretty similar in layout from what I noticed. Some slight redesigns here and there, and there's actual now statues you can actually see as well. Though other than that, it's pretty similar. And also this is where we see the turn-based battles, to which pretty cool stuff nonetheless. Seems like the person who was playing this demo had it all on auto, which whenever I get this game, I won't do it in auto, I'll do it all manual because that's how I like it. And also one thing I noticed is that there seems to be multiple options if you press L or R. I'm assuming one of them allows you to speed up the battles and the other one changes tactics, I guess. Though I'm not entirely sure seeing how everything was in Japanese, and don't ask me, I'm not that good with Japanese in the first place. Also, another thing I noticed was the person who played this demo outright ignored chests that would include mini medals. At least, typically they would include mini medals. So I'm curious of whether or not mini medals are in this game or not, or do they want to show it or not? I don't know, hard to say at this point. And the person in this demo gets the thief key, to which one thing I should mention is, in the first village you go to, there's a person with an exclamation mark, which I'm assuming he tells you that, oh, there's a tower with a guy who has the thief key, because it activates a story quest from what I can tell. And then once you go and get the thief key, it concludes that the story quest is over. To which I have to assume there's going to be people out there that'll give you a more clear path of where you need to go next in the adventure. There's going to be someone in the town of Isis that'll direct you exactly to get the magic key over at the pyramids. There's probably going to be people that will let you know where to get the orbs. So that way people who are new to this game, who normally like their games spoon-fed, won't get lost when playing this remake. And of course for me, I already know all the nooks and crannies for this game, so I'm perfectly fine right there. And the fact that there's mini-maps now, that's already an added bonus there. But regardless, they go back to the first village, they get the wrecking ball, and when they head over, the one thing I noticed was that there's now a scene where they actually cover when the wrecking ball goes on and explodes and opens the path to the cave that leads you to Romernia. And they just outright skip a whole portion of that cave right there. They show you a map of the cave itself, which looks to be slightly redesigned, and then they skip to the portion to where there's 3 doors. And I'm just like, wow, couldn't even bother to show us this whole dungeon here. And then by the time they get to the portal that leads you to Romernia, they just take you back to the village, to which I'm pretty sure the people who were playing this demo weren't allowed to show you places like Romernia and what have you. They were only allowed you to show you places like Aliahan Castle, the village, the tower, what have you. And the one last thing the demo showed off was this one tree that had a chest. And the one thing I remembered in people who had hands-on previews was that they were talking about these locations that were new to the overworld that had these chests and things to explore alongside some NPCs. And this obviously was that right there. So it's pretty cool that the overworld does have some extra little goodies as well. Here's hoping we get the TNT boards, we get the mini medals, and of course we get a lot more stuff in this remake. As I mentioned before, I'm definitely excited for this remake right here. I'm curious to see exactly how many things will be voiced in this game, seeing how portions in this demo where you assume things will be voiced are not voiced at all. So I'll be curious about that. But anyways, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and don't forget to leave this video a like and subscribe as well. And you want to see more videos, do check out these videos right here. I personally think you'll enjoy them. See you guys on the next one. Take care.